Hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday.
Yes,
Not Monday. I'm sorry. We just had to confuse you.
yes.
Uh,
I mean, everyone needed a day to recover. Not that yesterday was
right?
much of a recovery day, but you know.
Yeah. Well, there was just so much that happened all weekend that we needed an extra day to prep. Um, Thank you to our producer Jeff for working late to put all of our script together.
Yes,
Um,
it was a lot, definitely.
it was a big weekend. It was a big weekend.
And it was just really hard to organize. Speaking as someone that also wrote a story about it, I mean,
Hmm.
the only way to do it is really park or property by property because
Yeah.
it is just
Because it was just so huge, so
so
yeah,
much.
vast.
Yeah.
But we will be jumping into all that soon, just as soon as we say hi to some folks in the chat. In Derek Ho's corner, Blossom and Michelangelo, welcome. And of course, Michael Bingham. Thank
Hello.
you for joining us for this Tuesday edition. We appreciate it. Yeah, we definitely have a few Disney announcements to talk about this this week.
Just a few, just a few.
Say hi to a few more folks who just joined the chat. My homeschool life. Hello there.
Hello.
The Loud House Lincoln Loud Love Ronnie Annie. That is a name for you. Hi.
Hello.
And welcome, crossover nerd. Welcome to all of you folks in the chat. We've got almost 60 people, and we've got a whole lot to talk about. So why don't we just jump right in and kick this thing off in 3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and MEI-Travel. I am Seth,
And I'm Carly.
and we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's been going on in our own lives. Carly, how have you been? Happy Tuesday. What has your week been up to?
Yes, happy Tuesday. Just kind of a reeling from all the D23 news, which we will definitely be talking about.
Oh,
I
yeah.
stayed up. We're both on the East Coast. Obviously,
Mhm.
everything is announced on the West Coast. So, in order to, get ready for my stories, I stayed up entirely too late.
Yep.
All
Weekend of
alone.
very late nights, for
Yes,
sure.
yes, but it was so worth. I'm glad I stayed up. Otherwise, I have just been relaxing because this week I am getting ready to go somewhere I have always wanted to go, the Land of Oz.
Oh,
They invited me to do a little behind the scenes tour before it opens up for this. They open a
mhm.
couple days each year. I've wanted to go my entire life, so I am like on cloud nine. I cannot wait.
I cannot wait to see all of your pictures. I'm
Yes,
very jealous.
we'll be talking about it next week for
Will
sure.
will you be cosplaying when you go? Will you be
No,
dressing up now?
no, I honestly,
I wanna see you dressed as Glinda.
yeah, if I'm gonna be real, I spend so much money on accessories, and with HHN coming up, I mean, I'm really trying to not go hard. I've already bought a few things for my major suites bound, so my
Ah,
accessory closet is like at a max. I don't need to purchase anymore. I need to save my money for spooky season.
I hear you. I absolutely
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
got so much stuff. You have a lot of stuff too, so we
Oh,
gotta
I
keep.
know. I was trying to downsize, and it's not easy.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that should be
yeah.
fun.
I just like you, I followed vicariously to all of our friends who were there at D23. Thoughts and prayers to all of you. Heroic job covering it. But I had a pretty full week. I got to go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting for International Drive here in Orlando,
Very cool.
where they talked all about Epic Universe. No new information whatsoever, nothing we haven't already talked about, but it was cool to see the plans all laid out. Um, and I got to go to a roundtable discussion with our Congressman Maxwell Frost, youngest first Gen Z member of Congress,
Very.
and acting Secretary of Labor Julie Su from the Biden administration to talk about arts and the importance of arts and labor. And the bottom line from that conversation is that jobs in the arts, entertainment jobs, are real jobs, and people who work in entertainment, whether they're in a theme park or a theater, deserved to be, a fair deal, and deserve protection from the heat. If you're out there in the theme parks, they deserve to be treated like real employees, like everyone else. So that was a really interesting conversation.
That's
And
awesome.
I also got to go to the opening night of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
Yay!
And excuse me, I got a little bit of a frog in my throat. Um, it was the first time I have gone to it in about 5 years, since before the pandemic, and I really enjoyed it. The Hocus Pocus show was new to me. The fireworks were new to me. The parade is great. It's huge. My favorite thing, though, was being able to ride the rides the way they were intended, without lightning lanes. To
Yes.
see that standby queues actually. I waited 20 minutes maybe for Tron, because when you don't have lightning lanes clogging up the line, it just moves. It was
Right.
wonderful. Didn't get to ride
Wow.
Tiana's though, because it was down.
Oh.
Oh well.
That's okay. Yeah. It's funny you say that. A lot of the feedback that I got from this year's party was exactly that.
Yeah,
Like, it's so
that's
nice.
the best part is not having to just to be able to get in a line for something and have it actually. I think I got in line for Big Thunder, posted at 30 minutes, was actually less than 5 minutes. Same thing with the
Amazing.
Haunted Mansion. It was great.
Yes. And I have to say, so Halloween specialty foods are a lot of sweet, which I know it's a lot of kind of nauseating stuff. I'm not really a sweets person, but what came back this year that was in 2022 is the sweet corn soft serve from Anti-Gravity's
Oh.
Galactic. And it's amazing. I cannot wait to have it. And this isn't a party exclusive, so you can also
Mhm.
have it during
Yes.
normal hours. So I
I
love it. To the Sunday, because that has all stuff on it. But
I wanted to try more food, but honestly, there's just so much going on. Just catching,
yeah,
the shows and the fireworks and the parade and everything, and trying to fit everything in. I didn't have enough time to eat. I thought I would grab some food right at 11 o'clock, and everything shut down at 11 o'clock,
yeah.
which was kind of a shame. But I did get to try the piggy wings from Friar Nook,
Ooh,
which were quite good. They had kind of a sweet and spicy, tangy sauce, some jalapenos for a little bit of kick. They remind me a little bit of the pig wings that they used to have way back in the day at Trader Sam's in California.
yes. Oh, when
So
Trader Sam's
I
has
enjoyed that.
food, yes,
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. Well, we have so much to talk about that we are actually going to skip completely over the news in the queue. I know. I think that might be the first time ever. And we are going to jump straight into our main attraction.
It's time for the main attraction.
All right. You knew it. The main attraction this week is all about D23. Specifically, we are going through every single announcement for the theme parks, announced at the D23 Parks panel, going through park by park, attraction by attraction, for the huge wave of things that they have announced. And I think the interesting thing for this is, for every single one of these little, blurbs that got posted to the Disney Parks blog, at the bottom of every single one, they had this quote from Josh D'Amaro
Yes.
promising
Thank you.
this is not just blue sky. This is not just a pitch. This is actual, shovels in the ground, dirt moving. These things will actually happen. We promise. Really, really promise.
Yes, which
So-
we have thoughts and stuff on that. But yes, maybe we should get through everything first, and then we can talk a little bit about that.
So these are hopefully all things that will actually be happening,
Just like
as
the Mary
presented.
Poppins ride.
We won't talk about the New Wonders of China film or any of that. We're not going there.
No,
Spaceship Earth.
And
maybe?
again,
No.
No, we're going to go through this resort by resort because it was
Yes.
definitely not in order the way they announced it. It was too much.
So,
but it's go by resort.
Big kudos to Blake Taylor
Yes.
on our team for sorting through all this information and organizing it from us. We're just going to flow through it in the order that he put together. Just a reminder, these are all things that were revealed during the Horizons Disney Experiences Showcase, which happened on August 10th at the Honda Center in Anaheim as part of the D23 Ultimate Disney Fan Event. And we are going to start off right there in Anaheim at the Disneyland Resort. Starting out with Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which will officially open on November 15th. Definitely pushing it as late towards the holiday season as they can. But November 15th is the date. And as part of that, they are changing the name of Critter Country to Bayou Country. And this
Yes.
confuses me.
I mean, here's the thing. The stars of that attraction, since we've gone on at Disney World,
Are the critters. They
Yes.
used the word critters over and over. And it seemed like they were doing that so they could keep it Critter Country, right? But
Yes.
uh,
I think it's neat. Like, I don't know why they're doing it. It doesn't feel necessary.
right.
But again, it is great that we have another attraction opening at Disneyland. You know, when we went through that time when Indiana Jones was down,
Yeah.
Splash was being down. So we need these rides to really
Oh,
feed
yeah.
people. So this is great that it's going to be opening up before the holiday season. Nothing else really new announced with that. You
Nope.
know, pretty straightforward.
Let us just hope that that November 15th date gives them enough time to work out the bugs so that it's a little less temperamental than it's been here in Orlando.
Correct.
Next up, we're getting to what I think is one of the more controversial announcements. A new show will open in the Main Street Opera House in 2025 called Walt Disney: A Magical Life. And for the first time ever, they are creating an animatronic of Walt Disney himself. It looks like we're going to see him in his office, and we are going to see Walt Disney brought back from the dead. Yeah, they brought out one of Disney's, I think, great nephews at the event to
Yes.
sign off on it, but his granddaughter is definitely not happy about it. And you know, I have plenty of books on my shelves where the original Disney Imagineers were quoted not once but multiple times saying that they'd never want to make a Walt Disney animatronic. But I guess all those folks have passed away. So
yeah, I'm not sure how I feel. It's either going to be emotional or really creepy.
I hope they get Garner Holt working on this, because he's honestly the only animatronics person who's seems to be able to do really good expressive faces that aren't totally cartoonish. If you've seen their version of Mr. Lincoln that he's had on display at like IAPA. But the good news is, speaking of Mr. Lincoln, if you do love Mr. Lincoln like I do, he is not going away permanently.
No.
Part of the permit was that they're installing a turntable on the stage, and it looks like that means that they're going to be able to do 2 different shows in that theater. They'll alternate after they run the Walt Disney show exclusively for a while. They'll be able to rotate back and forth during the day between Mr. Lincoln and Mr. Disney.
Yeah, I'm curious how long, because they said during the debut run. I don't know how long that's going to be. We have the 70th coming up, which we'll talk about. I wonder if it's going to run throughout the duration of that, which kind of could make sense. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that would be very logical. Speaking of which, they announced the 70th anniversary celebration. The park's official 70th birthday is July 17th, 2025. And in the past, they've done like a year-long campaign. Here in Walt Disney World, they seem to last for 18 months. So we will see when that kicks off in 2025. Don't have a lot of details
Nope.
about
They
exactly
revealed the logo,
what.
which
Yeah,
looks
we got a logo and that's about it. And also coming to Disneyland Park in 2026, tied to the release of the upcoming Star Wars film, The Mandalorian and Grogu. Beginning on May 22nd of that year, you will be able to experience a new mission at Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run that lets you fly alongside The Mandalorian and Grogu on a new adventure.
Yes, I'm sure kids are going to love this. Obviously, everyone loves Grogu. No one has been, relieved from his adorableness. So I feel like this is a natural step, and I'm sure people will love it.
Yes, it is interesting to me, though. They had previously, originally very famously set a very specific time frame for Galaxy's Edge in which everything took place, which was during the sequel trilogy. And then, eventually let some other characters in, but in a very limited way, and keeping them away from the attractions so there wouldn't be a crossover in timelines. This is, I think, the first time that they have broken the canon timeline inside one of the attractions. So It looks like they're kind of throwing out those rules that they had.
Yeah, anything goes, I guess.
Yeah. Hopping next door to Disney California Adventure, they had told us before that we were getting a King Thanos Multiverse Avengers ride in Avengers Campus. Now we've got a name for it and a little bit more detail. It's going to be called Avengers Infinity Defense. It's going to let you visit Wakanda, New York City, and Asgard. And it's going to have a second attraction alongside it called Stark Flight Lab, which basically looks like a Kuka Robo arm like they use for the Harry Potter rides, except open, not a dark ride, but just using it to flip you around and make you sick.
Yeah, it is a sum of all thrills is coming back.
It is exactly some of all thrills, except with Robert Downey Jr. Coming back to make snarky comments while you try not to lose your life.
He has to be involved in every convention in some way.
Absolutely. The construction on this is supposed to begin in 2025. And from the rendering here, this is pushing back into a lot behind the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And I'm wondering if they're going to have to do some work moving the bus loop yet in order to, it's tight back there. They're definitely going to have to move some backstage facilities, kick out some managers are going to lose their nice cushy parking spaces.
Oh, they can't store the food and wine festival booths there anymore because that's also over there.
Yeah, so there's definitely going to have to be some backstage shuffling before construction can begin on this next year. They also showed off a maquette of the ride vehicle. And if you ask me, it looks like they headed over to Universal and just grabbed one of their Transformers ride vehicles. It is the same configuration, the same seating, the same profile as the Spider-Man or Transformers ride. So we had previously thought that it was going to be a motion-based ride like that. The interesting thing is that the renderings that we see that have some guests riding the ride does not look like they're wearing 3D glasses.
Well, that's good. And also, they didn't really say anything about the ride experience, like nothing.
Yeah, we have a few images. We know some characters that'll appear in locations.
But it was like crumbs, So
yeah. I'm thinking that this will probably be a similar ride to either Transformers or the new Peter Pan that opened in Tokyo. Motion-based simulator with a mix of physical sets and big screens. So again, no opening date for that, just construction starting in 2025. And then in 2026, they start construction on Disney's first ever Coco ride, which will be a boat ride. And from the rendering, this looks a lot like El Rio del Tiempo, or maybe Pirates or Small World in terms of the ride system. And they did not say where this is going to go exactly, but my guess is, since Coco is a Pixar film, correct?
Yes.
That it would make sense for this to be somewhere in or adjacent to the Pixar Pier.
Bye-bye, Goofy. Right?
Well, one of two possibilities. I mean, you can either take out like Goofy and the jumping jellyfish and the silly swings, but then you're losing a lot of capacity for one ride. You're not increasing the capacity of the park any. There is actually a plot of land that was designated for a dark ride underneath the Incredicoaster. On one side, you have the Toy Story Midway Mania ride, but there is an equally large plot, even slightly larger, just to the right of that. The spot where they sometimes do meet and greets with Lotso and characters like that, that was actually intended to be the entrance of it. And at one point, when they were talking about the Pixar Pier makeover, they were going to put like the Pixar equivalent of the Country Bear Jamboree in there.
Right.
So that would be a good spot, but I for a boat ride, it would be perfect for a small dark ride. Boat rides usually take a little more space because they need pump houses and stuff. So we'll see. We'll see where that ends up going. I wouldn't doubt it if Goofy's days were numbered. Because it would make sense to keep it near there, since they do like the Cocoa celebrations right there at the Paradise Garden Grill. But
Yes.
don't get rid of the Paradise Garden Grill, because I love that little gazebo.
No.
Yeah.
And we also have Redwood Creek Trail, but that could be used for something that we're going to talk about next, I would say. Maybe.
Okay. Well, so next up is Avatar, and we have been teased with this before, that they are going to build an Avatar land at the Disneyland Resort. They've now confirmed that it will be in Disney California Adventure, and that it will include a boat ride that is completely different from the Pandora that we have currently in Animal Kingdom. The one in Animal Kingdom is based on settings and themes from the first film, and this is going to be based more on the second and the upcoming third films. To me, it looks like this boat ride is Shanghai Pirates technology.
Yes.
That's my guess, because they promised that this would be very thrilling. So I think using that technology that lets the boat go sideways or backwards and sync it to media, I think that would be perfect for this.
Fingers crossed, because we need to start getting some of that technology that we're using over there here to really kind of up the ante with all this news.
So you suggested that this might possibly replace the Grizzly Peak area, the Redwood Trail.
Maybe, I don't know.
That could definitely be a possibility. I would kill me to lose the Villains Grove for Oogie Boogie,
Yes,
but
the best.
and I don't know if it makes sense to trade out one water ride for another water ride, especially when summers are getting hotter and hotter. The resort could use all the water rides it could get. Where I would like to see this go is the Hollywood Pictures backlot, where the Monsters Inc. ride is currently. Sorry, yeah, we're getting, we'll be talking about it in a little bit. Here in the East Coast, we're getting a much more impressive Monsters Inc. attraction.
Yes.
So if that one, which was honestly, it was only ever Superstar Limo with a cheap overlay. If that goes away,
next D23, they'll announce it's coming back.
The reason I say this is the plans that we've seen as part of Disneyland Forward have them getting rid of the bus loop, getting rid of the kind of the whole Eastern Gateway, and shifting parking to behind the old Carousel Hotel, the east side of Harbor Boulevard, having a walkway going across. If you don't need that whole bus loop and security check area, then you can expand the boundaries of what is around. You've got that big soundstage that used to be the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show,
and that's a huge space. Yeah,
ginormous soundstage. Add in the Monsters Inc. ride. Add in the other soundstage that was once a restaurant, and they used it for the Tron arcade a million years ago. That sits empty. There's a lot of real estate, and if you can push further back into where the bus loop is, I think that would be enough room to add capacity. I think that they want to add capacity and not just build a 2,000 person an hour ride, but take out 2,000 people an hour from other things at break even. That's my gut. So that is everything that we have officially announced for the Disneyland Resort.
Yes, noticeably absent, which a lot of people were kind of hoping for, was a Tomorrowland revamp.
Yeah,
since they announced the Autopia cars would be redone. So
and we got no updates. We got no updates at all on anything at downtown Disneyland, downtown Disney, like. Are we really getting Portos?
I don't know.
From what I've heard, that project stalled, but now has started back up again. And I still hear we're still supposed to get a 2-story Earl of Sandwich someday, but who knows when. A lot of we didn't really get updates on anything previously announced. But it between 2025, 2026, we're going to see a lot of construction for sure. Starting.
Absolutely.
All right, let's head over to the Walt Disney World Resort. First at the Magic Kingdom. A little update on that Pirates of the Caribbean bar. We had that teased last year. We know that's going to open in Adventureland sometime in 2025. We got one new piece of concept art with looks like we've got a performer standing up on the bar, and either a puppet or an animatronic bird, maybe. And I assume they're going to serve actual alcohol, because if you try to have a bar for pirates and there's no rum, that's just asking for trouble.
Yeah. I'm guessing
Uh,
the popularity of Olga's Cantina, it's going to be sort of that like 45-minute pre-batch cocktail situation, which
Yep.
is fine. I mean, I'll take what I can get. If it looks cool on the inside, got some pirate music going, I don't care. I'll probably drink beer or wine and stay away from the sweet drinks, but you know, you do you.
Speaking of Ogas, this concept art shows this long table with like, I don't know, a dozen people
Oh,
sitting
God.
at it. And I bet that's like 3 or 4 different families, because we went to Ogas, we had a reservation, we had like 6 people, 7 people. But they just randomly picked 2 other people to sit in our
Always.
booth with us, and it was like, "Oh, hello, this is cozy. Who are you?" And
Yeah.
then halfway through us, we ordered 2 rounds. They only ordered 1. They left, and then they brought a whole nother set of people. It's like, oh, it's like speed dating.
No, it really, I go often, like if I'm by myself and I just want to pop in for like a glass of wine, I'm always like, and I always request standing at the bar because that is where you're the safest. But
Yeah.
you were like shoulder to shoulder. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it is tight. So
Yep.
expect that from this.
Yeah,
but
pretty much.
yes, it's good news. I can't wait.
So also coming this time in summer of 2025 is finally a new nighttime parade for the Magic Kingdom. It has been a long time. Kids have grown up and started driving since the last time we had a nighttime parade at the Magic Kingdom. So this new one is called Disney Starlight, and it's going to include characters from Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Frozen, Encanto, and more.
Yes, and it is very Tokyo.
Oh, it totally, yes, it very much to me looks like the Disney Dreamlight Parade, right? That's the Tokyo one.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we didn't get any word about what's going on with Paint the Night. I was hoping that we'd hear about a revival of Paint the Night. That's still my favorite that closed before its time.
Right.
All right.
News.
Now we're going to get into, I think, what is probably the most divisive and controversial news coming out
I had to
of the
get
Magic
socials
Kingdom.
yesterday because it was a brutal, hostile world out there on social media.
So here's the good news. We are getting a major new addition to the Magic Kingdom. Frontierland is expanding with a new take on Pixar's Cars Land. It's not going to be the same Cars Land. It's not going to be Radiator Springs. It's going to be a new, more rugged, wilderness-based version of the Cars universe, but with a ride that seems like it's going to be a similar ride system to Radiator Springs Racers and Test Track, but just with an off-roading theme.
Yes.
So that's the good news. We're also going to get a yet unnamed family attraction, probably something. We've already got a Mater's version in the form of the ride over in Toy Story Land. So I don't know, some other kiddie spinner ride.
Yeah,
probably.
I was looking at like the art concept.
It's
really
so vague. It's hard to tell what's there.
It kind of reminds me of Legoland. There's a Legoland driving ride for little kids where you sit in the car, and it looks very similar. I have no idea.
Yeah, the Legoland driving school. I can see
Yeah.
almost like a mini version of Autopia.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, maybe it could be that because they really emphasize it's for younger kids. So it'll be something along those lines.
So Radiator Springs Racers is one of my favorite Disney rides anywhere.
Ride.
So I'm sure this is going to be, a fantastic addition to the park. But the issue is that it is going to take over what is currently Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers of America, which is completely eradicating a major thematic center of the core of the Magic Kingdom.
Which is hence why this is taking place not in Radiator Springs, but into the wilderness, because you really had to stretch to make it sort of work with the
Yeah.
frontier thing. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, all of the area that is water surrounding Tom Sawyer Island right now is going to get drained and filled in, and is going to become walking paths and forested areas. And the area where Tom Sawyer Island is going to be taken over by attractions. Um, we've got kind of an overview here. In the foreground, closest to the bottom of the picture, is basically the existing Liberty
Yeah.
Square riverboat
Mhm.
docking station,
Yep.
which is going to become like it looks like a gateway to this new area. And the existing Frontierland, the Country Bear Musical Jamboree, which was just reopened, Pecos Bills, that seems to be staying pretty much intact on the left side here. And we've got Tiana's up at the top in the center. And at the top right, you've got the Big Thunder Mountain, all staying intact. But this
And it
whole
looks like
center area,
now it'll be like heavily wooded with grass and trees to
yes,
kind
a
of make
lot of trees for sure.
lush and hidden and
Mhm. And we've got
impressive.
kind of a snow-capped mountain area in the center. And then paths we can see for ride vehicles cutting through the area with walking paths. Basically, where the riverboat would go right now, in between Tom Sawyer and the Haunted Mansion, is going to be a walking path instead, leading off beyond Big Thunder Mountain, which we will talk about in just a minute. But the Haunted Mansion remains here on the right-hand side. So this is a very ambitious um, plan. I'm wondering what this does. I'm trying to remember if the dark water system, because I know it flows through the Jungle Cruise and the the water that's kind of around Tomorrowland and the
Yep.
hub. I don't know if the that connects to what is the Rivers America or not. But it's definitely a major infrastructure change to the park. Like
Right.
that's a big deal. It is a big
It
deal.
is. Yes. Hence a lot of strong opinions about
Yeah.
this and the choice to not they obviously knew this was happening Saturday, but
Mhm.
decided to wait for, kind of the
Yes.
high.
They left it very vague where it was going during the event and didn't kind of drop that till afterwards because they
Yeah.
knew there would be some backlash. Looking here, I brought it up in Google Maps just to take another look. And they had previously hinted at this plan and called it Beyond Big Thunder Mountain.
Mhm.
And I think so. I personally had assumed that since Big Thunder Mountain is right here in the center, that we were looking at this grassy area that's on the opposite side of the railroad tracks. That they would be expanding into this section here, and then maybe into this section here that's grass behind It's a Small World and Haunted Mansion.
Yep.
But to wipe out all of this. I would be more upset if it was wiping out Rivers America and Disneyland.
Mhm.
But it's still, it's over 50 years of history that's going to get bulldozed right there.
Yeah, and also there's just something to be said about a body of water to look out
Mm.
on,
I,
that free space.
yes,
I don't know,
the
feng shui, whatever, but just that openness. Also, I mean, this land is not for me. I just do not care for cars. I hate to say it. I love going through Radiator Springs at Disneyland, walking
Mhm.
around, grabbing a drink from V8's, maybe a mac and cheese cone, but I am not a cars gal. So
Right.
I think I'd be more excited maybe if it was something else. I don't know.
Well, I will say the one improvement that seems to be over the Cars Land in DCA is that it actually has some shade and some trees. I think Cars Land in DCA, next to maybe Avengers Campus, is just one of the most brutal places
Right.
to
A
be
lot of
during the
sweat.
day.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate that they're making this look very lush and well landscaped, but I think there's a value to having water
Mhm.
in a park. I think every park
Right.
needs some sort of water feature, a lagoon, a river, a lake, something. It just even psychologically, it just helps with the sense of heat. So we will
No,
see.
I agree completely. There's just something about it, something looking at it, knowing that it's there, and that this is going to be like really built up. I'm not sure. I mean, I am happy for new things. To
Yeah.
be honest, Magic Kingdom is one of my least visited parks, and the reason that because of that is because I love Disneyland.
Yeah.
The original Disneyland park is everything. So once I've kind of made that mindset, I was like, okay, maybe I am excited for this because Magic Kingdom needs to do something.
Right.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's this, but there needs to be something to really just change things up, bring new life to it.
Hmm.
And maybe this is it, even though it's not my favorite.
Yeah. So obviously we do not have an opening date for this, but permits for demolition have been filed. And from what I understand, they're also going to plan on taking Big Thunder down for a lengthy refurb during this process. So whether it's towards the end of this year or early next year, I think we're going to see progress starting on this in just a matter of months.
Yes. Hopefully it doesn't take like 8 years and we're going to be watching a previous body of water just be built there and then sit there. I don't know. Hopefully they
Yeah.
put up the trees like ASAP so that we don't
Yeah.
have to see into it.
So the next phase of this, I mentioned beyond Big Thunder Mountain. Well, we are still getting a project beyond Big Thunder Mountain, and that is going to be Villains Land. And this is something that if you've been following Disney Imagineering lore for a long time, this is a plan that goes all the way back to, I think, the late 80s or 90s. Like the idea of a Villains Land or even a whole Villains theme park has been kicking around forever.
And
So
that was what they thought Animal Kingdom would be, right?
Yeah. I think that we've only got one piece of artwork. We've got absolutely no specifics or timeline. We just know that we'll have 2 attractions plus shopping and dining. But if we look, kind of study this concept art for hints, I do definitely see echoes of the Beastly Kingdom, that Dark Tower roller coaster that kind of morphed into the Dueling Dragons at Universal's Islands of Adventure. We've got a dragon in the background. We've got what appears to be
Yes.
Maleficent's dragon breathing green fire. I thought it was hilarious that Deadpool came out at D23 and just relentlessly mocked Josh D'Amaro about
Oh my God.
the dragon
That was
catching fire.
genius.
Yeah, that was pretty great. But they say the construction prep work has already begun on this, but because this is happening, this is going to be happening in this spot here. So it looks like the Cars Land stuff is basically mostly taking place in the front half of the Rivers of America and the front half of Tom Sawyer Island. The section that has the fort on it and kind of the back loop, I think that is going to be the Villains Land, extending to this grassy area behind the Haunted Mansion. That's my guess.
Right. I mean, they can only go so far because there is a public access road like back there.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, they're hemmed in by Floridian Way. I don't think they could ever go on the other side of Floridian Way.
No.
But they do have quite a bit of acreage here to work with. Yeah.
Right. I actually pulled up a map that showed kind of the scale of like how big Magic Kingdom was and that plot of land, and it was really showed me the perspective, really how big it is back there.
So we do not have closing dates yet for the Liberty Bell or for Tom Sawyer Island, but if you're planning a visit coming up soon, we just know that work is going to begin in early 2025. So get in your last visits now while you can.
Yes.
All right, moving on from Magic Kingdom to Epcot. We are getting
news that is happening, which is like gets me so excited. I feel like there's 2 categories, like sort of blue sky and stuff that we're really gonna get to experience before I'm using a walker. It's like
and especially with Epcot, we've been burned before about Epcot announcements. I remember taking one of my first visits to Epcot as a kid and seeing construction walls proudly announcing that Israel would be opening in this spot within the next few months. Israel still ain't there.
No.
But we are getting sometime in 2025 a new Spaceship Earth themed lounge in Epcot. And from the design of this looks like it is the old AT&T sponsor lounge that's on the backside of Spaceship Earth, which has been gathering dust, used for very occasional VIP events. But it
Yeah,
looks like it'll be opened up to the public.
that is
So
very cool. There's a lot. If you go online, I think it's also called like the Siemens Lounge at one point.
Yes.
There's
Mhm.
great photos if you want to see what it looks like, because it does look like the existing layout is going to be sort of the same. Like the bars there, they
Mhm.
just need to do a lot of like cosmetic work. So
Mhm.
this is exciting. I just hope it's not run like Space 220 Lounge, where it's like, please, dear God, I beg you, of anything Disney gods, please don't do that, because I never go there because it's so headache to get in. Let's
Mhm.
just figure out a way we could do this. Don't
Amen.
care what it is, but not that.
Also opening in 2025 at Epcot, Test Track
Yay.
3.0. And Test Track looks like it's going to be returning to its World of Motions roots, especially in the outdoor, the shape of the building, stripping away those big industrial lighting trusses and kind of going back to the smooth, curved look of the original World of Motion. So that's fun. There's going to be a new queue with 6 distinct different exhibits. And within each room, celebrate the vehicles and the people behind the vehicles. So I'm not sure if that means we're still going to be designing our own car, or if that element of it is going to be removed. But the new ride is going to start out with show scenes showcasing technological advancements, and how our lifestyles and relationships to mobility connect everyone. That's super vague, so I'm not sure what that exactly means.
I don't know. It's giving me like World's Fair, OG attractions
Yes.
vibes just from the story. I'm happy. I was not a 2.0 girly. My vehicle that I designed like a decade ago because I just was so over that whole thing. So I am excited for this because I just did not like 2.0. So
Yeah.
bring it on.
Well, the part that I'm looking forward to is it sounds like that the second half of the ride is going to have a lot more detailed theming and environments. There's going to be a trip through a scenic outdoor route
Ooh.
to remind us all of the joys of driving. And we've seen some concept art of the cars going through like a forested area. So I'm excited to see some real rich scenic design, some dark ride environments. So that is coming in 2025. We already talked about in 2026 the same upgrade to Millennium Falcon that they're getting in Disneyland is also going to debut in 2026 at the same time in Disney World. But this is the big news coming to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Monsters Inc. is getting an entire Monstropolis land built around the hanging door coaster that we have all been waiting for ever since the first Monsters Inc. movie came out. I
Yes.
can remember Jim Hill talking about plans for this door coaster going back forever. And to think that it will finally get built is very exciting. The question is where?
I know. This is also another hot button. If you have been on
Mhm.
socials, I'm hoping that it's Launch Bay or
Yes.
even
So
yeah.
I, m- I based on the orientation of these buildings, based on reading tea leaves in the concept art, I am really hoping that this is part of this is going where the current Star Wars launch bay is, the old animation studio. There's they'd have to move some cast member facilities around, but I think that that is the best choice for it. The other possibility would be the Muppets Courtyard, which I think would
Oh,
be a real shame, and would also hem in any future expansion of Galaxy's Edge.
right.
Um,
I see. For
but
that reason, I just don't think that it's going there. I mean,
yeah,
I could see them ditching the Muppets. I just feel like logistically wise,
the
they're limited there.
when I look at this picture, so we've got 3 pieces of concept art. The top one depicts the interior of the door coaster,
The
and
first
they've
ever suspended coaster at Disney, which is
yes, first ever. And I don't know if we have a manufacturer confirmed for this. Um, it looks like a Vekoma to me, but it's hard to say from the art. But they did say that it was going to do the thing where, the crane comes and picks up the door and lifts up the door, just like in the movie. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to work. And then we have a middle shot here that's kind of an exterior of the big Monstropolis, the Laugh Power Factory exterior. And this looks to me like this could definitely be the launch bay courtyard. I mean, it's got a very similar structure to the
Absolutely.
outside.
Yeah,
But
I
then
guess
when
the
you look at
question
this,
would be Little Mermaid, because Little Mermaid would be the bottom left where they're showing like a kids play
yeah,
tape.
yeah,
So
yeah. So that makes me wonder about that. But then we've got this last piece of concept art that looks kind of like a reverse view. And I don't know, these buildings in the background on the left almost look like, the ones on the street outside Baseline Tap House,
right. I
across
mean,
the Muppet
that
Courtyard.
corner with the street. I mean,
I just don't know. I just don't
you know
know.
what? We can't get hung up on it
Yeah.
because I mean,
Well,
maybe they don't know. I don't know, but this sounds amazing and I cannot wait for this. I mean, I'm not necessarily, I would say, the biggest Monsters Inc. fan, but
mhm,
the scenes, I mean, just this story, this world, the ride, I mean, this
mhm.
would be wonderful.
Yeah, they actually had, I believe, at the expo a scale model of the
Yeah.
attraction,
Mhm.
and I mean, it looks like they've squeezed quite a twisting track layout into that little box because it kind of loops over and around itself. It looks like a really interesting layout, and I am excited to get to ride that. My only concern would be capacity, because these look like only 2x2
Yeah.
ride vehicles. So you've got like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, maybe 12 people per train. So yeah, that might be a long line.
That's
But I'm
okay.
excited. I'm excited for that.
You know,
Um,
there's bubble waffles in the artist renderings. There's a kid holding a bubble waffle ice cream cone, so we can go get a
oh,
cone as we wait.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, Finally, we'll head over to Disney's Animal Kingdom, and there we are getting a brand new show in winter of 2025, coming to the Tree of Life. Replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug will be Zootopia, Better Together, which is a new attraction highlighting different animal biomes. We don't have a closing date yet, but this will definitely be a 3D attraction because we've got a poster with the animals wearing 3D glasses.
Yes, they said next winter. So what does that mean?
Well, I'm always confused when they say winter 2025. Do they
Same.
mean like January or February, or do they mean
Like
next December?
right, because I when I say winter, I think early December, but
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We have to figure that out.
Um, so we got some more confirmation and details on the transformation of Dinoland USA, which is becoming the Tropical Americas.
Yes,
They
non-IP based land. There
Yes,
are IPs in it, yes, but I love that it is a non-IP land. Like, yes.
yeah, which is in keeping with, I mean, aside from Pandora, all the other lands in Animal Kingdom are themed on a region of the
Yeah.
planet. So the while the overall umbrella is the Tropical Americas, that is going to encompass both Indiana Jones and Encanto. And construction is going to begin on this sometime in fall of 2024. They have not set closing dates for the existing attractions. Josh did promise that we have time to get in one last ride on Dinosaur, but
Ugh.
I wouldn't wait too long.
Every time I ride it like it's my last. I love Dinosaur so much. It is my favorite pre-show video. I don't care. I love it. I'm gonna be sad, but I feel like this whole new area as a whole is gonna be great.
So we've got a picture of the entrance archway that is replacing the entranceway that has the big dinosaur skeleton over top of it. And we can also see the exterior of the Indiana Jones attraction, which looks like it's going to sit right where the Dino Institute is right now. It's going to be a Maya temple. And while I don't think that they're going to change up the ride hardware, I think it's probably going to be the same vehicles, the same the ride path. They do say it's going to be a new story, so it's going to not just be a clone of the Indiana Jones rides we have in Disneyland or Tokyo.
Right.
New scenery, new theming. So, and looks like we'll have some fun special lighting effects in it too.
Yes, I'm very happy that it's not going to be an exact clone. That is good news.
And then next up for the Encanto section, we're going to have the Casita, the Madrigal's house. And inside that is going to be a brand new dark ride. It looks kind of like a family-friendly Omnimover style dark ride to me. And in addition to that, there is going to be a new carousel, a classic carousel using fanciful animals.
Yes. And then I believe they also said this is going to be where they're going to put one of the largest quick service restaurants in the world. I don't know.
It looks to me like that is just a retheme of the existing dinosaur or Restaurantosaurus, which is one. I mean, you don't realize how big, but it's all those different rooms. It is actually one of the property's biggest. So that's where I think that is probably going to go.
Yes, and it's exciting because Animal Kingdom has such great food. It's such a little foodie gem. So if now we're in tropical Americas, they could really draw some cool inspiration for some global dishes.
Moving on, let's hop out of the country. Tokyo Disney Resort had absolutely nothing brand new announced.
It's okay, they get enough.
But yeah, they've got plenty. They
enough.
just had a huge opening of Fantasy Springs this year, and they are getting the Reach for the Stars Nighttime Spectacular. That opens up on September 20th, just a couple weeks after I'm there. Oh well. Disneyland Paris is also getting a new nighttime spectacular, opening up in January of 25. And this one is going to have projections on Main Street USA for the first time. They've been doing projections on their castle for a while, but this time first time they've mapped the whole street. And featured characters in this one are going to include Pinocchio, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Mulan, Lilo and Stitch, Moana, and Encanto, and more.
Yes,
but they didn't tell us what the name of it is.
No, but they've really been upping the ante with their nighttime offerings. They had the drone show for the 30s. So this is just kind of like a natural progression, and I love to see it.
Yep. The big news was for the Walt Disney Studios Paris park, which is getting a brand new name, Disney Adventure World. That is going to be renamed when World of Frozen opens in 2026. This is the expansion on the far side of the new lagoon, which is called Adventure Bay, which is going to have a water show. And the Paris version of Frozen is basically the Hong Kong version without the roller coaster or the indoor show. It's basically like 2/3 of the Hong Kong version.
Yes, and the nighttime show looks like World of Color, right? I mean, that's kind of what I know.
Oh, it looks super World of Color, yeah.
Yeah.
With a little bit of Fantasmic, maybe. Yeah, and but it looks like it's going to include fountains and drones and mist screens, all those goodies. The big announcement, though, was that they are getting a land based on The Lion King. We don't know when. They're going to work on that after Frozen opens up, so post 2026. But it looks like it's going to be Paris doesn't have a Splash Mountain. So this basically looks like it's going to be their Splash Mountain or Tiana's Bayou Adventure. It looks like a very similar log flume ride. And hard to say whether this is based on the animated version or the live action CGI version. From the concept art, it kind of looks halfway between the two. So,
right. I mean, can we say that this park is really getting a glow up from being like the worst Disney park to like the best with the rides?
Yeah, I mean, they're still going to have a way to go, but this is a big step forward. That park definitely needs the help for sure. All right, let's set sail on the high
Yay.
seas. Disney Cruise Line is getting a huge expansion. Starting with, well, let's talk about the ships we already know about. The
Yes.
Disney Treasure cruise ship. They are going to get a brand new stage show. They previously revealed it's called The Tale of Moana, and they showed off a 15-foot tall puppet, Teika, that is going to be part of the show when that launches in December of this year.
And I think
Uh,
they said it's the largest puppet they've ever used in a production at sea.
yeah,
So
it looks massive. It's a great piece of concept art here. And also very exciting, when the Destiny launches in 2025, they are going to have a new version of Hercules. Way back in the day, they had a Hercules musical on the Disney Cruise Line back in the 90s. And so this is going to be a new version based on the animated film. And that is on the Destiny in 2025.
very exciting. I mean, a lot of people guessed this was happening. I love it. Great music. I mean, this is going to be a fan favorite.
But the thing that blew my mind is they announced not one, not two, not three, but four more cruise ships are going to launch between 2027 and 2031. This is on top of the four that they've already announced. So they're, I mean, the expansion. We're going from 5 to 13.
Rapidly, rapidly.
That's crazy. And when you think about, in terms of cost and engineering, building a cruise ship is basically like building a new theme park. Like it costs about the same. So that is a major investment
Right.
coming.
But we're seeing a lot of people that maybe were theme park Disney vacationers and they're trying out Disney Cruise Line, and you're be like,
Mhm.
oh my God, I get the magic of Disney.
Yep.
But it's a little bit easier to navigate. You just show up essentially, Uh, it's a great way to vacation. It's definitely changed the way I look about things. So I understand, and these things book out like hotcakes. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if you look at Disney's most recent quarterly financial statements, they were upfront
Mhm.
that the theme parks are softening. People on the low end, people of the lower income end of the income scale are cutting back what they have to spend and can't afford Disney Vacation anymore. And the people who are on the high end, they want an actual luxury experience. They're going on international travel and they're doing cruise ships
Mhm.
because they feel like they're getting more for their money than they are going to the domestic theme parks. So,
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, when you dine on a Disney cruise, it
mm,
rivals or beats some of the best signature dining at Disney World.
for
And you
sure.
think about you're paying for that up front.
Hmm.
It's really hard to beat that.
So next up, let's head to Hong Kong Disneyland, and they announced a new Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus ride for Hong Kong Disneyland's Tomorrowland, which has a whole Stark Expo Marvel section.
Mhm.
And they didn't give us any dates or details, but this concept art sure looks like a new version of Tower of Terror to me.
Yes, it
It
does.
looks like an elevator drop ride, but the ceiling is exposed, and I'm guessing that there will probably be media in the drop tower, so that you can see Spider-Man, Doc Octopus, whether they're projections or animatronics or something, as you're going up and down. That one looks like a lot of fun.
It does, yeah. And I love Tower. I love the ride system. So I hope it's like that
Hmm.
because then Spider-Man can use his little webs to get us.
Yeah, that would be perfect. And then at finally at the Shanghai Disney Resort, they are going to get that resort's very first Marvel themed ride. And this one is a Spider-Man roller coaster. It looks to me like a launched roller coaster that's got some outdoor sections. I don't know if there's probably going to be an indoor section, at least for the launch.
Right.
But we've got, we'll see Spider-Man on the ride. And that one looks like a lot of fun. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like a spinning coaster to me from the artwork.
No. Not that we
Um,
can see. But we don't really know much. So
yeah. But Shanghai has Tron, but they could definitely use another roller coaster. So, as we said, a lot of this stuff, we're lucky if we have a year. We don't have dates really. Some of them we don't even have names for, but we know that there is a whole lot of stuff coming to the parks over the next decade. Is it fair? Should we curse this by calling it another Disney decade? Because the last time that Michael Eisner declared a
ooh,
Disney
yes.
decade,
No,
like
no, no,
most of the stuff never got built,
no, no,
right?
no, no. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Hmm.
The pressure was on this year at D23, as we all know. 2022 Parks panel. I was there. I was there with Matt, our publisher.
Hmm.
It was all blue sky. There was nothing announced. And the
Yep.
backlash was obviously felt from that. They had to come up with really big stuff this year. I watched the ceremony. It was more like a concert than really a Parks panel because a lot of the stuff they're announcing, there's really no details. If you
Yeah.
read through the Disney Parks blog post, it's like 2 paragraphs at most
Yeah.
for most of them. So obviously, I'd love to say I can't wait to hang out in Villain's Land and go on a coaster, but realistically, we know what happens. We've talked about the Epcot stuff with the new
Yeah.
show in China and Mary Poppins and how things get scrapped. Who knows where this world is going, where financials are going. So all the stuff sounds really great. And there's definitely a few things that we could say realistically, we think we know they're going to happen. Like
Hmm.
I would bet Animal Kingdom, that stuff, I feel like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then some of the other things I'm excited. I would love Monsters Inc. Land. That's probably what I was most hyped about
Hmm.
because that roller coaster, but a lot of things can happen.
They've given themselves a lot of wiggle room. They have been very intentionally vague
Yes.
on specifics and details. So, and I don't expect at best for half of this stuff to open before 2029 or 2030. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we're realistically looking 5 years at least for
We're going to
most
be
of
on
this stuff to open.
AARP.
Oh my God. I turned 50 next week and I got my letter from them asking me to join, but I'm holding out for a better gift. So,
Yeah, so
uh,
I don't know. Definitely, I'm excited to have some stuff next year, like the Pirates Lounge. Like I'm letting
mhm.
myself get
I'm
excited
I'm looking
about.
forward to having some grog with you at the Pirates
Yes, we
Lounge.
are definitely gonna have some grog stuff that's like definitely happening really soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny, I saw a bunch of posts online saying, why doesn't Universal do something like D23? Why doesn't
I saw
Universal
it
do something
too.
like this? And the answer is that because Universal waits until something's almost built and open before they announce it. They're just like, we're just gonna do our work and we'll start hyping it when it's almost ready, as opposed to hyping it before we've even started moving into
I'm
work.
honestly fine with that. I don't want to know. I'd rather have someone like an Alicia Stella find me the permits and then we can kind of piece the
Yep.
parts together than like empty promises sort of.
Mhm.
D23 is definitely a vibe. It's a
Yeah.
convention and it's meant to bring people together that have fandom. This is just like a big element of it. Yeah,
Yep.
that's my thoughts. It was definitely a show. It was like watching a concert. I enjoyed it. I was entertained.
Hmm.
A lot of celebrities. Very cool to watch. What comes of it, we
Yep.
know we're getting the cruises because the cruise sector is just,
Oh yeah.
a gold mine. But I will wait for all the other things.
Time will tell. Time will
Yes.
tell. Well, before we wrap this show up, I think it is time for us to hear a word from our sponsor.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and MEI-Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI-Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
All right. Well, we're going to take a look at some
Yes.
of the comments that you folks left us in the queue, starting out with Michael Bingham. Thank you, Michael, for agreeing with me. Even though he really enjoys Hollywoodland at DCA, he thinks it's time for Avatar to take its place. Yeah, that's where I'm putting my bets, but we will have to see. The average Battlegrounds user thinks that we need Dragon Ball Z in Disney. Unfortunately, that is not a Disney IP, but I
No.
believe that some ex-Disney folks are working on a Dragon Ball Z theme park out in China. I think we've talked about that in the
Yes.
past. Michael is also excited about that Indiana Jones coming to Animal Kingdom. And also for The Lion King coming to Adventure World. All right. Well, thank you all for listening and for commenting. We appreciate you, and we'd like to thank our sponsors at MEI and Mousefan Travel, and we also want to ask you to please give us a rating or review wherever you listen to us, if that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Give us a like or subscribe here on YouTube if you're watching the live stream. And please be sure to follow attractionsmagazine.com. Search for Attractions Magazine on your favorite social media platform. And Carly, where can folks find you on the socials?
Yes, I am on Instagram at Adventures by Carly and on X at Carly Caramana.
And you can find me at S. Kabursky and at The Unofficial Guides, and pick up copies of my books at theunofficialguides.com. And that's going to wrap it up. So until next week, we hope you folks stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we will see you again next time.
Yes,
Bye.
bye.